Today, we're going on a bit of a different kind of journey, not to cities of the living, but to their silent stone counterparts, necropolises. And trust me, these are so much more than just burial grounds. They're incredible architectural marvels. They're time capsules, just holding the stories and secrets of entire civilizations.
It might sound like a strange question, right? But it's really the core idea we're digging into here. Because you see, the way a society treats its dead, the very structures it builds for them, that reveals pretty much everything about the values of the living.
And the name itself is just perfect. Necropolis. It literally means city of the dead, and that's the key. It's not just some random collection of graves. No, it's a planned, designed space that actually mimics a living city, with its own avenues, its own buildings, and even its own social hierarchies, all etched in stone.
That's what they are. These silent cities are mirrors. And by looking into them, we can see how our views on death, on memory, and what it even means to be human have shifted so dramatically over time. It's all reflected right there in these enduring structures. Okay, so our journey's got to start deep in the past with humanity's first attempts to create these lasting communal homes for those who had passed on.
I want you to just imagine those sprawling catacombs underneath ancient cities. These were not places for grand individual statements, not even close. Instead, they were monuments to a shared fate, a kind of collective journey into the afterlife.
So what does this tell us about these ancient societies? Well, it shows a really powerful focus on the group. Whether the spaces were anonymous or shared, they show that your identity was completely tied to the collective, to your family, your community, your faith. Your final resting place wasn't about me, it was all about us. But as you can imagine, this collective focus, it wouldn't last forever. As human consciousness started to shift, driven by new philosophies and the rise of personal wealth, the architecture of death transformed completely. And then, bam, everything kind of flipped. Suddenly, this idea of being remembered, not just as part of a group, but as a unique individual, that became incredibly important. People wanted their names, their stories, their accomplishments to outlive them. And, well, how do you do that? You build. You build something big. And just like that, cemeteries turned into these galleries of individual ambition. Tombs became status symbols, architectural marvels designed to basically shout a person's importance across the centuries. The goal was no longer about a collective journey. It was all about creating a permanent, individual memory carved right into stone.
And this architectural conversation with death, it didn't just end in the past. Not at all. It continues right on into the world that we know today. I mean, think about the grand Victorian cemeteries in places like Paris and London, or even modern memorial parks. We see this exact same impulse at play. They're part park, part sculpture garden, and part historical record, all continuing this long tradition of using architecture to shape memory and legacy. So after this whole journey through time, what have we learned? What do these cities of the dead ultimately tell us about ourselves?
Well, it all starts with a fundamental human need, right? To create a sacred, protected space for those who have passed on. It's a simple, practical purpose.
But it never stays that simple, does it? That basic space quickly evolves. It becomes a canvas, a place where the living can express their grief, their beliefs, their power, and their deep desire to be remembered, all through art and architecture.
And that's the final transformation. They stop being just about the dead, and they become perfect reflections of the living. Our values, our fears, our social structures, even our deepest beliefs about our own place in the universe. And that's really the heart of it. These enduring structures reflect evolving societal views on death, memory, and the human desire for a lasting legacy. Every single structure, from a humble little spot in a catacomb to a towering mausoleum, it's like a data point telling us about the society that built it. And that leaves us with one final, fascinating thought. A few hundred or maybe 1,000 years from now, when someone looks at the way we commemorate our dead today, what conclusions are they going to draw about our society, our values, what we truly believed was worth remembering? What will our cities of the dead say about us?